What up, guys? I look crazy, but I'm about to go to bed. I'm leaving Nashville tomorrow to go back to LA. It's been so long. I've been working on music, locked in for the past pretty much 2 months nonstop, and working hard too. And the work's not stopping. I have to go back for a conference that I'm speaking at, and got to get back on the gym grind. And also, I have some studio sessions out in LA. But I wanted to talk about my experience with therapy in this video because I think there might be I don't know, misconceptions about therapy, and I think I was hesitant when I was younger. I started therapy when I was really young for adoption. So I was probably about 10 or 11 years old, but it actually really helped me, it at first I was hesitant though, you're talking to a stranger technically, but they soon become people that you can really rely on. I found a lot of peace through doing therapy, but long story short, I started when I was about 11 years old. And I remember I would just kind of sit in there and I thought it was kind of fun. Like, oh, I have somebody to talk to. I didn't even really realize what I was doing, I feel like. Maybe I was younger than 11, but yeah, I remember I would like draw pictures and all this stuff, and I was like, I didn't know. But as I grew up, I had a different set of things that I was working through. Those are things you work through your whole life, though. Being adopted, it's never something where you're like, oh, everything's good. There's a lot of complications, there's a lot of different pieces to the story that make up who you are and how you view the world. And that's a good thing, just like with everyone. I think for other people, there might be different family dynamics that they have to work through. And, but so yeah, as I got older, I stopped doing that type of therapy. But then I got into the industry, started, doing social media and making music. And when that all started, I was probably about 13, and that's when I started going to therapy again. I reached a really, really low point in my mental health. And when I say low, I mean, I couldn't leave my bed for a week straight. And I felt physically sick and I was crying nonstop. And I felt like my headspace turned against me. And when the one thing that's supposed to protect you turns against you, it's a very scary thing. And I had never really experienced it like that before. I was quite literally, borderline losing my mind. And I'm grateful to have found peace and found natural ways to find peace and to be able to help other people through their journeys of mental health. But for a long time, I was really struggling. I couldn't leave my bed, and for many different reasons, I'm not going to dive into the details of what was causing it. But long story short, it was a lot of anxiety, enough to where I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go anywhere. And if I did, I'd put on my hoodie and I wouldn't talk to anybody. And I was terrified of the world. And I was just really, really struggling. And I started going to therapy. I'm not going to say his name. Let's call him, because I don't want to say his name on the video, but he's been my therapist for a long time. I still talk to him. He saved me, and I'm forever grateful for the help that he provided me. I remember I was so lost, I didn't know what was going on. I saw so many different professionals about what was happening, and this one guy saved my freaking life. I mean, he helped me understand the way that my headspace was working. He helped me understand why my heart would start racing, and we were able to see exactly what was happening and work through how the mind works. And when you battle your thoughts will battle back. And when you run away from things, the fear only gets bigger. And these principles that I didn't know before, the more you try to control, the less control you have. The more you allow, the more freedom you have. These simple rules that now are implemented in my head, I did not know before. And these were things that I didn't know I had had my whole life. But once I went to therapy, found out, oh, I have this. And I went to a psychiatrist too, and they told me what I got going on in my headspace. And so it's nice to know. It's really important, I think, for people to know what's going on, because there's so many young people right now struggling. And it helps to be able to point your finger and say, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's wrong. And now I will go to specific therapy for the thing that I know I have, if that makes sense. And so I really encourage people that therapy does not make you weak. If anything, it's like, hey, people go to the gym, right, for their physical health. I mean, I do. You can't really tell. I haven't been like going like crazy recently, but I'm gonna get back on it. But what about for your mind? What are people doing for their mind? This is like having a personal trainer for your mind, is how I would look at it. And I think it just helps you become a better person. You're able to have an environment where you can talk to somebody, and then outside of that environment, um, you're able to, you know, be yourself and not have to feel like maybe at times you might be like wrecking the vibe by telling other people. I felt like that for a while, and not that you are. It's important. I still talk to my friends about all that stuff, but now that I'm thinking about it, there probably is going to be somebody like, well, that's expensive to go to therapy, and it can be. That's why I genuinely, in my life, when I get older, it would be so cool to help other people afford therapy. I think that would be so cool to start something where we help get therapy for people that can't afford it. I think that would be so cool. And there's a lot of things I want to do like that, where I'm excited for the point in my life where I'm able to really put those things together and make a big change because of how much it's impacted and helped me in my life. I want other people to get that same sort of, help that I've had, and the help that really changed my life. But yeah, I think that's mostly it. But therapy has been a really important thing. I still go to therapy, and I literally never want to stop going to therapy, even when my mental health is good, because you never know. Nothing stays the same, right? So, later on in life, maybe I'll be really struggling with my mental health again. And, I also have a sober coach who helps me with staying sober. I haven't talked to him in a few months, which isn't good, but I have to check back in if I'm being honest. But yeah, I do have people in my life that are helping me stay on track, in terms of it's nice to have a team of people that help you. And I also think just talking to people is a great thing for somebody out there that might not be able to access therapy right now, which at some point in your life, maybe you will be able to, and I definitely recommend it. If you're not able to, I would definitely say talk to the people close to you and be completely honest. And if somebody judges you for the way that you feel, don't take it personally, because sometimes it's hard for other people to understand what we're going through, and that's fine. But, also be there for other people when they tell you about their mental health and where they're at. I think that's going to do it. I'm in my pajamas. I got to pack. And yes, this is my experience with therapy. I post every day on YouTube, by the way. Please subscribe. And look, honestly, if you made it this far, send this video to a friend. The power of that would be great. I post every single day for you guys. And it would be so cool if this channel was able to take off. I really appreciate everybody watching these videos. And love you. Oh, also, I saw some cool edits from these videos. Shout out to everybody that's editing the videos. Thank you. Your edits are super cool. Post them on TikTok, too.